Welcome to today's mixed circuit. We're going kit heavy today, so this may not be applicable to everybody, but you're going to need an exercise mat, whatever kettlebells you have available, whatever dumbbells you have available, and your resistance bands. We have 2 rounds of 10 exercises to complete, 40 seconds each with 20 seconds rest in between. We have lying closed chest press on the floor with the dumbbells, standing single arm row with a kettlebell or a dumbbell, goblet squats, body weight or with a kettlebell, dumbbell pullover on the floor, standing tricep kickbacks with a band or dumbbells, kettlebell halo, bridge with the resistance band, bicep curls with the band or with the dumbbells, kettlebell swing with obviously the kettlebell, and shoulder pulses with the resistance band. Let's take a look at the exercises for today's workout. The closed press can be a very effective way of working the mid part of the chest when lying on the floor if a bench is not available. All we need to do is take a bend at the knees, keep the elbows tight to the side, and then we're going to press those dumbbells up, keeping them over the midline of the chest. Each dumbbell should be parallel, so shouldn't get any closer, and then we should be able to press with those palms facing. Keep the elbows in as you come down to the side. This is going to be a much greater range of movement than chest press on the floor with the dumbbell, although it is only going to hit the midsection of the chest. A good alternative if you don't have a bench available. Single arm row without a bench, so we're going to take a split stance and we're going to rest the front hand on the front of the thigh. We're going to take a dumbbell in one hand and we're going to pull through, keeping that elbow nice and close to the rib cage, making sure that we're not rotating the chest or the torso as we pull through. So we drop that elbow back down, we make sure we don't lock that elbow out or drop down too fast. Control this movement in both directions. Make sure you change halfway through either time or the repetitions depending on which set you're working to at the time. To complete the goblet squat, we're going to turn those toes out, take a wide shoulder width position, and then we're going to hinge at the hip and drop down. This is a great variation on the classic squat, opens up the hips and makes it a lot easier to sink into that deeper position. It also enables us to keep those knees back behind the toes, which is really important so that we're not putting pressure through the kneecap, and we can perform this exercise effectively, working the hamstrings, glutes, quadriceps and lower back. To complete the deadlift with a resistance band, take the feet on the band, hip width apart, toes facing forward. Wrap the band around the hands to the correct level of resistance, and then hinge at the hip, drop the chest in and lean forwards, and effectively hinging at the hip, dropping down. Drive through those heels, and then standing up, locking the hips out at the top, pressing forward and squeezing the bum cheeks together at the top. Very effective way of doing this exercise at home with minimal equipment. To complete the dumbbell pullover, we want to take the hand underneath the dumbbell, so we're clasping with both hands. Lying on the floor as an alternative to a bench will work very effectively for this exercise. We're going to come over the top of the head, lightly touching that dumbbell on the floor before we press and bring it back over the midline of the chest. Never ever stop over the face for this one until you take care not to bang that dumbbell hard onto the floor. Work to the range of the movement that you can manage. This is a great exercise for working the top of the chest, the mid back and the triceps back of the upper arm. If you were working on a bench, you would have a greater range of movement, but this is an effective home alternative. Tricep kickback is a fantastic exercise to work the back of the upper arm. We're going to do this in a split stance with one foot in front of the other, resting the hand on the front thigh, or you can use a chair for a support if you prefer. Keeping that elbow tucked into the side, just pivot and hinge back, kicking the dumbbell back behind you, working the back of the upper arm. Halo with the kettlebell. So with the kettlebell facing up, we lift the elbow, pop the head through, take the bell around the back and bring the head back through the other arm. So again, pop the head through the hole, take it round the back and then pop the head back through. So at speed, we feed it round in a halo action all the way around the head. So elbow up, head through, and then finishing off bringing the elbow and the elbow over the top and the head through the hole. You can alternate different directions. This is a great exercise for mobilizing all around the shoulders. Sideways on for you so you can see. So feeding round, elbow up, wrapping that around the head. It's easier than it looks, this one. Kettlebell round the world. So with the hand on the side of the handle, leaving enough room for the other hand to grip, we're going to take that bell round the back and we're going to switch hands and then changing at the front. Build up a reasonable amount of pace with this. Control your body through the core. This is a great mobilization exercise, good for loosening off through the shoulders, through the spine, and through the hips as well. Deceptively challenging little exercise. bridge with the resistance band. So we're going to lie on our backs, 90-degree bend at the knees, press through the heels, lift up through the hips, but we're going to take the band across the hips, and then we're going to use those hands to hold that band in place, and we're going to press those hips up against that resistance. For this exercise, it's important that you don't have too much resistance, so loosen that band off as applicable. Squeeze the glutes, the bum cheeks hard at the top of the movement, and make sure you lower under control. Don't let that band press you back down too quickly, and we're looking for a straight line through the shoulder, through the hip, and through the knee at the top of this movement. The bicep curl exercise works the front of the upper arm. Now we want to take a split stance for this exercise to protect the back and stop you leaning in as we curl those arms up. We're going to start with both palms facing at the side, and we're going to alternate arms curling up as we go so that the wrist faces the chest at the top, and then we're going to rotate it all the way down so that it finishes back where it started at the side of the thigh. Reason for this is we don't want to leave tension within the bicep throughout the exercise. So alternate, curl up, twist, and return to the start. To start the kettlebell swing, we want the kettlebell out in front. We take the hands on top and then we draw it between the legs. Now the movement for this will take a couple of swings to get up to height, and the correct height for this movement is going to be at shoulder height, as seen here in the video. Now we use a movement called the chop forwards and the pop up to bring the kettlebell back up to height. The way we do this is we hinge at the hip, bringing the chest down, try not to bend too much at the knees as we come down. This is not a squatting movement. So we bring the forearm up high into the inner thigh as we chop down, and we bring that chest forward. To come back up, this is the pop. Now we bring the forearm up into the inner thigh, we take a slight bend at the knees, and then we extend those hips out, locking out at the top, squeezing the glutes together. So we chop down and then we pop back up. Chop and pop. Resistance band pulses. This is a fantastic little exercise for the shoulders and for the upper back. So we're going to take a wide grip position on our resistance band. We're going to open up the chest for 3 pulses, pulling those shoulder blades together behind. Then we're going to come over the head into a wide position, pulling down with the band. So squeeze the shoulder blades for 3, over the top, and pulling apart for 3, pulling those shoulder blades down. So those are our exercises for today's circuit. If you don't have your equipment or your water ready, then please hit the pause button, because we are off in 10 seconds and we're kicking off with closed press. So if you have a bench, lie yourself down. If not, lie yourself down on your exercise mat, grab those dumbbells, palms facing, and we are off in 2, 1, let's go. So closed press. Palms stay facing. We're going to keep those dumbbells parallel, so no closer together, no further away. And we're going to bring those elbows in, down, past the rib cage, lightly touch the floor, and then pressing back up. This works the mid-chest nice and hard with this particular exercise, and you can go quite heavy if you do have those dumbbells available to do so. You could also make this a little bit more challenging by rotating those wrists as you come to the top, so the palms would be facing your feet, and then rotating them back in to the start position as you've got here. We're into our last 10 seconds, nearly there. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic. Good. 20 seconds rest. Single arm row next. So grab yourself a kettlebell or a heavier dumbbell. If you're using a chair for support, you can do that. That's no problem at all. But we're going to take one foot in front of the other, and then we're going to row through from there. We're doing all 40 seconds on one side, and then we're going to change over and do the other side in round 2. We're off in 3, 2, 1. And go. So rowing through, pulling that elbow through nice and high. Perfect. So we're working the mid to upper back with this exercise, the latissimus dorsi, so the mid back, working the arms, the biceps and triceps a little bit as well, a little bit the back of the shoulders. It's a brilliant exercise. We'd normally perform this one on a bench if you were in a gym, but works just as effectively in a standing position. Great way of modifying it so that you can do this at home without any issues at all. We're into our last 10 seconds. Keep pulling through, making sure we're not dropping that chest or shoulder as you lower that dumbbell down. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Fantastic. 2 down. Got goblet squats coming up next. So you've got a couple of options with this one. You can grab yourself a kettlebell if you have one, hold on to the horns, keep it at the top of the chest. Grab yourself a dumbbell, keep it at the top of the chest in a goblet stance. And we're going to turn those toes out. If you want to make this easier, then we do this body weight only, no additional weight. We're off in 5 seconds. So wide stance, turn the toes out, and we're sinking down in, let's go. Perfect. So toes turned out. So body weight only in the video here. But again, if you wanted to make this harder, you just hold that dumbbell at the top of the chest, hands on each end of that dumbbell, keeping it at the top of the chest as you sink down. Or same thing, but with a kettlebell holding onto the handles. Quite often we do with the kettlebell, we do what we call bell up. So we have the bottom section of the kettlebell facing up and then hanging onto the handles, keeping it nice and close to the chest, close to what we would call a front squat. Last 10 seconds. Nearly there. Longer rounds today. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. 20 seconds rest. So this is a complete strength and conditioning set that we're doing today. We need deadlifts next. So grab yourself a medium to heavy resistance band. Place the feet on the band, hip width apart. Wrap that band around the hands. Make sure it's not too tight, but you want to feel this movement all the way through. And then we're going to stand up with that band, hands at the side of the thighs, hinge at the hip and sinking down, and we're off. Perfect. So see here, you want to make it harder, you wrap that band round a little bit more. We hinge at the hips, push the bum back, lean the chest in as we come down. And then we're working the hamstrings, back of the upper thigh, we're working the glutes, the bum muscles, we're working the lower back, working a little bit of the quadriceps and the hip flexors as well. Powerful as you come up, lock those hips out, squeeze the glutes together at the top. Keep that coming. We've got 10 more seconds left to go. Perfect. Nearly there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic. 20 seconds rest. Okay, dumbbell pull over next. So we're going to be lying down on the mat and we're going to take our dumbbell and we're going to take the hands underneath the end, clasping it between the thumb. Second hand comes underneath to support. We start over the chest with the arms extended and we're going to come over the top of the head. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and go. So coming over the top. Start finish positions over the chest, never over the face. Coming over the top there. So we've got a light grip on this dumbbell. We're not death gripping it, but it can't go anywhere because the thumb is looped around that dumbbell. Now, if you want to make this a little bit harder and increase the range of movement, we would actually take that dumbbell sideways on. So we'd hold the midsection of the dumbbell as you would normally hold it. So it would be end on, and you would take both hands underneath. And this is going to enable you to get an increased range of movement because obviously the bottom of that dumbbell is not going to be hitting the floor quite so soon. Obviously a lot harder on the triceps. Back of the upper arm when we do that. Good rest there. Fantastic. Talking of triceps, they're up next. So we've got tricep kickback. So select yourself a lighter weight than you did for your single arm row, probably a 3 or a 4 kilo. If you're feeling strong, a 5 or a 6 will be challenging for this one. And then we're going to take the same position as our single arm row, 1 foot in front, rest the front hand on the front thigh. We're going to row that elbow up and then we are going to kick back. So let's get started. Kicking back. So same position, leaning that chest in, supporting ourselves on the front thigh, and then kicking that elbow back. We are going to change halfway through on this one, making sure as we come back we are not dropping that elbow down. We're just kicking back, working that tricep back of the upper thigh, and let's switch sides. And we're kicking back again, working the other arm this time. Again, you can go heavier on this, but you want to work to your weaker side. So we don't want to be going heavier on your stronger side or lighter on your weaker side. We want to maintain it, let your weaker side get stronger and catch up. We're nearly there, and relax. Fantastic. Number 7 coming up, kettlebell halo. Love this exercise. So you want a medium weighted kettlebell. And we're going to take a grip on the handles with the bell facing up. The bell facing up. We're going to start with the elbows tight into the rib cage and with the kettlebell in front of the face. We're then going to lift the elbow up and we're going to thread the head through the hole. So lift up and then we go all the way around. So thread that head through the hole, take the kettlebell all the way around the back. And we're going to alternate directions for this one. So we're going to come round one way and then back round the other. Sideways on. So we lift the elbow, thread the head through the hole, and then we take the kettlebell all the way around. So the kettlebell should be facing down, the bell should be facing down as it passes around the back of the head, and then should be facing up as it comes around the front. Last 10 seconds. This is great mobilization for the shoulders, working the upper back, working the chest, working the arms, and relax. Good. 20 seconds rest. So same kettlebell, can go a little bit heavier on this next one if you do have one available and you would like to. So around the world, we're going to take a wide stance and we're going to take our kettlebell and we're going to take one hand on that kettlebell, leaving enough space for the second hand to grip as we pass that kettlebell around the body. So kettlebell around the world, pass it around the back and changing hands. Go a few repetitions just to get your coordination, and then we're going to pick that pace right up. It's a good lower back stability exercise. Again, passing round and then changing direction. So as we swing that bell round, gripping with the other hand, supporting yourself through that lower spine, maintaining that good core stability, changing directions once more. Keep those coming. We've got just over 10 seconds left. That's it. Nearly there into those last 5 seconds now. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Excellent. So we're back down onto our exercise mat. This time we want a light resistance band. We've got bridge with the band. So lying on your back, bend at the knees, 90-degree bend at the knees. We're going to press through those heels. We're going to take that band across the hips. And we're going to hold that band down with the hands, and we're going to lift up hard, and we're going to squeeze the bum cheeks, squeeze the glutes together. So it's a resisted bridge exercise. So lift and squeeze. So pressing up, squeeze the glutes at the top. If you have those hands too close together, there's going to be too much resistance in that band. It's going to lift your hands off the floor. So you can just move your hands a little bit further down that band if you need to. Very good. We're looking for a nice straight line through the shoulder, through the hip, and through to the knee as we come up into this exercise, into the top position. We are nearly there. Keep those coming. 10 seconds left. Good. You should definitely be feeling this. It's a brilliant exercise for working the lower body. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. Number 10 coming up, bicep curl. Now you can do this with dumbbells if you have dumbbells available, or you can do this with a resistance band. That is absolutely fine. If you're doing it with a resistance band, 1 foot on the band is easier. 2 feet hip width apart is going to be a little bit harder. If you're using dumbbells, we're going to take a split stance, palms face the side of the hips, and we're going to curl up, rotating that dumbbell so that it faces the chest at the top. Okay, so let's go. So we're going to curl up with the dumbbells as seen here. And then we're rotating that wrist so it faces the chest at the top. And then we've got 30 seconds left on the clock. We use a split stance, so 1 foot in front of the other. The reason for this is it stops us leaning that chest in. It means we can support ourselves through our back foot, and it means that we're not bringing the chest down to meet the dumbbell. It's really important we work that upper arm, the bicep, and then we're not working this through the mid and lower back with bad form. Last 10 seconds. Digging in now. We are nearly there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic. Relax there. Okay, number 11, the kettlebell swing. We've got 2 exercises left to go in this first round. Kettlebell swings coming up next. You want a medium to medium heavy weight for this if you have one available. We're going to take a wide stance with the feet. We want to be 1 step back from the kettlebell, hands on the top, and then we're going to pull it between the legs, hinging at the hip, and then driving off of those hips as we pop back up. So hands on, and then popping up. So hinging at the hip, coming down, slight bend of the knees as we pop off the hips. We're looking to get that forearm up high on the inner thigh. Exercise or a coaching point we use here called chop and pop. So chop down, pop up. Chop down, pop up. So it's a great cardiovascular exercise. The correct weight is when the kettlebell becomes weightless at the top of the movement, which should be at or just above your shoulder height, no higher than your head. So as you can see here, this weight is about right. If it was to come any higher, it would be time to make that weight heavier. And relax. Good. Last one coming up, we want a light resistance band, and we're going to be doing shoulder pulses. So we're going to be going shoulder pulses to the front and then over the top of the head. So 3 pulses to the front, 3 pulses over the top of the head. If you hold the band really close together, so hands really close together on the band, it's going to be very difficult. So control where you position those hands. We're going to start with those arms out in front. And then we're going to pull for 3, pull the shoulder blades together, and then over the head, pull the shoulder blades down. This isn't driven by the arms, this is driven by the shoulder blades. So squeeze the shoulder blades together as you pull the arms apart, and then over the top of the head, pulling the shoulder blades down the back. This is a brilliant exercise. Again, low impact, but super effective. Keep those coming. We're into our last 15 seconds. We've got a minute's rest after this before we go back to the start. 10 seconds to go. That's it. You should be feeling that burn through the arms now. And relax, everybody. Good. Well done. 60 seconds. Grab yourself a drink. Stretch anything off that you need to. And we will be kicking off again very soon. Okay, so make sure you have a drink if you haven't had one already. We will be kicking off with closed press. So you're going to want dumbbells, and we're going to be down on the mat working the chest for our first exercise. So that's 20 seconds on the clock. We're going to be kicking off again soon. Round number 2, all strength and conditioning today. It's not about going really, really fast. It's about actually pushing yourself and pushing yourselves with the weight that you're using, keeping good form. Cardiovascular and core is for another day. So we are off closed press, so lying on your back, and we're going to press those dumbbells up. Elbows are close to the rib cage. Remember, if you want to make this harder as we press up, rotate those wrists so the palms are facing the feet. Curl them back in so that the elbows are close to the side as you come down. Good. So we can go quite heavy with this. So if you do have a selection of dumbbells available, I recommend you go reasonably heavy for this. So if you would do something like a 5 or a 6 for a normal chest press, then I would go maybe a 7 or even an 8 for this exercise. You will be a lot stronger in this closed position, but never ever take those dumbbells over the face. 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. Fantastic. Very good. 20 seconds rest. Single arm row is coming up next. So grab your kettlebell or your heavier dumbbell, whatever it is that you used in round 1. Remember, we're going to be working the other side this time. We're working the other side. So we've got 10 seconds left on the clock. We'll step one foot in front of the other. Support yourself with the front hand on the front thigh. Lean the chest in. Make sure you got your dumbbell or your kettlebell, and let's row through, pulling up. Again, making sure we're working that other side today. So pulling through. Good. Elbows nice and close to the rib cage. Making sure that we're not dropping that elbow and shoulder too much as we come down. We're not rotating through the mid to upper back as we pull through to finish that movement. It should all be coming from the arm, although it may feel like it's all being done through the arm. The lats, the mid back are driving and helping to pull that dumbbell or kettlebell up as you row through. We are very nearly there. We have got 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, and 1. 20 seconds rest. Fantastic. We've got goblet squats next. So goblet squats, lower body squatting exercise. We're going to take a wide stance, toes turned out, and we're going to grab ourselves a kettlebell, or we're going to grab ourselves a weight, or we're going to do this body weight only, and we're going to keep that weight at the top of the chest if we're using it. So we are off in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Number 3, round 2. So squatting down, toes are turned out for this one. Nice wide stance, opens up the hips, enables us to squat down a little deeper, a little bit more range of movement, but importantly, it helps us to keep those knees back behind the toes. We never want those knees driving over the toes, a very, very common problem. If you do struggle with this, I recommend you do some foam rolling for your lower calves, but for now, let's push on. Let's sink that bum down. Let's work these squats, keeping that kettlebell or that weight at the top of the chest if you're using it, using those arms to counterbalance you if you don't. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good 20 seconds rest. So number 4 coming up, we've got deadlifts with the band, so medium to heavy resistance band. We're going to lay it on the floor. We're going to place the feet on top of the band, both feet on the band, hip width apart. We're then going to wrap that band around the hands, and we're going to start in a standing position. We're off in 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So sink the bum down, lean the chest forward, and then pulling up. If you need to, wrap those bands around the hand to make it a little harder. You should feel tension through the legs, through the bum, throughout the whole of this movement. Really important. Really, really important. Good. So drive those hips forward at the top, squeeze the bum cheeks, pull the shoulder blades back. Make sure we're not lifting those arms at the top of these movements. Notice my arms do not move at all through this movement. It is my lower body that is arching and leaning to enable me to move. It is not a lift of the band at the top of the movement. 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic. Well done. 20 seconds rest. Dumbbell pullover is next. So we're going to be lying on our back, bend at the knees, and then taking that dumbbell over the top of the head. So thumb comes underneath the dumbbell, second thumb hooks around underneath the first hand. We start with the dumbbell over the mid-chest, and then we're going to extend over the top of the head and behind. Okay, so let's go. So taking it over the top, and then back to our start position over the mid-chest. So lightly touching that dumbbell onto the floor signifies it's time to come back. Now work to the range of movement that you have. That may be too far for you. That's not a problem. If you feel you can go a little further, then again, take your hand on the normal midsection of the dumbbell, holding it as a normal dumbbell would, and then take it over the top with one hand on top of the other, with the dumbbell now having a greater range of movement. We're into our last 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Brilliant. Good. Rest there. Number 6, halfway through, tricep kickback. So lighter weight, and we're going to be starting in the same position as our single arm row. One foot in front of the other, front hand resting on the front thigh, rowing up with our dumbbell, elbow stays tight to the side, and then kicking back behind. We're off in 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So kicking back. Good, perfect. So keeping that elbow nice and tight. And we're going to go 20 seconds on each side, and then we're going to switch over. So 10 more seconds on this arm. Not letting that elbow drop down as we come down. Big kickback work in the back of the upper arm, the tricep muscles, and switch sides for me. So kicking back with the other arm. Again, anything that's single-sided, we need to make sure we work to the weaker side, so we're not going heavier on one side where you're feeling stronger. Always work to that weaker side. Now keep digging in. We've got 5 seconds left. We're nearly there. 2 and 1. Good, relax. So we're through the halfway mark now. We're going to go kettlebell halo next. So medium weighted kettlebell. We're going to start with the hands on the handles, bell facing up. Bell facing up. And we're going to want those elbows tucked into the front, into the rib cage. Kettlebell starts in line with the face, and then we're going to lift that elbow, feed the head through the hole, and then we're going to carry on all the way around the back in a halo action. So lift and roll, lift and roll. So the kettlebell will be facing up at the front, in front of your face, and as you roll around the back, it will face the floor. So we're rotating all the way around. We can alternate directions. To keep everything equal, work in the shoulders, work in the spine, work in the mobility, work in the arms. Brilliant, brilliant exercise, this one. We've got 14 seconds left, so we are nearly there. 10 to go. 10 left to go. Keep those coming. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 20 seconds rest. Right, same kettlebell. Can go a little bit heavier if you have one available for this next one, if you would like to. Around the world. So we're going to start with one hand on that kettlebell, hand on the side, with enough room for the second hand to grip. We're going to take a wide stance with the feet, and then we're going to pass that kettlebell all the way around the back, changing hands with the kettlebell behind us, and when it comes in front of the hips. 3, 2, and 1. So passing the kettlebell round and changing as you go. Perfect, good. So start slow, go a few repetitions to build up your momentum, get your coordination in, and then we want to pick that pace up, and then we want to change directions. Good. Great for stabilizing the lower back. Good for coordination. And then when you need to change direction again, we've got 15 seconds left on the clock. Keep those coming. It's one of those ones that's perhaps better not to think about too much. 5 seconds left. 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Relax. Good. Number 9. So bridge with the band is going to be our next exercise. So we're going to be lying on the back, bend at the knees. We're going to take a resistance band, light resistance band for this one I recommend. And we're going to take that band across the hips, and then we're going to press through those heels, lift up, and we're going to squeeze those glutes. Hands are going to hold that band down to create the level of resistance. If you held the hands too close on the band, too close together, it's going to be really, really hard. So hands a little bit further away is going to be a little bit easier, but you do want to feel that tension through the whole movement, but you should be able to reach the top of the movement so that you have a straight line through the shoulder, through the hip to the knees without it being a strain. Good. Squeeze the bum cheeks together hard at the top to engage the glutes, the bum muscles, working the glutes and the hamstrings for this exercise. We're into our last 15 seconds, so we are nearly there. Keep digging in now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, well done. Number 10, we are nearly there. We've got bicep curls coming up next. So bicep curls, we can do this with a resistance band. 1 foot on the band is easier, 2 feet is harder. And bicep curl, we're going to go split stance, palms start facing the side, and then alternating arms curling up. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So curling up, alternating arms, working front of the upper arm. So the opposing muscle group to our tricep kickback that we did just a couple of exercises ago. You can go reasonably heavy with this one, but the biceps do strain quite easily. Again, split stance keeps this nice and safe, stops us using the back. So don't be too over ambitious with your choice. This is also a reasonably long round at 40 seconds, so we want you to be fatiguing in the last 10 seconds. We don't want you to be feeling burnt out after 20, because that's going to lead to you straining, it's going to lead to you pushing through in a bad way, and it's going to mean you're more likely to damage those tendons on the bicep where they connect into the forearm. And relax there. Good. Right. 20 seconds rest. Number 11. We are on the home straight now. So we've got kettlebell swing. Medium to medium heavy kettlebell for this one if you have it available. We're going to take a nice wide stance. 1 step back from the kettlebell. Hands on top. And we're going to pull it through the thighs. And then we're going to pop it off the hips. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Kettlebell swings. Pull through. Pop it off the hips. Couple of swings to get that momentum, and then we want to be up to shoulder, between shoulder and head height. Kettlebell becomes weightless at the top. We hinge at the hips, bring it through the thighs, engaging that forearm as high up in the inner thigh as you can. Slight bend of the knee as we then pop it off the hips. We push those hips forward hard, squeeze the glutes together. We do not lift with the arms. This is a lower body exercise. Think of the kettlebell as being a pendulum moving from A to B. A being the top of the movement and B being the back of the movement once you're hinging forwards. Relax there. Good. Well done, everybody. We've got one more left to go in this workout today. There are no bonus rounds, no secrets, so we are nearly there for today. You're going to need a light resistance band. We've got shoulder pulses, so 3 to the front, 3 overhead. So don't grip that band with the hands too close together. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, shoulder pulses, last one. Let's go. So 3 reps, pulling those shoulder blades together, then over the head, pull those shoulder blades down. Obviously, the arms are taking this movement and enabling you to pull that band apart, but I want you to think about what the shoulder blades are doing behind. So pulling those shoulder blades down and then pulling those shoulder blades together, squeeze them together. It's a completely different movement when you think about it in this way, because you can just move those arms, but we're really focusing on that key engagement with those shoulder blades. We're into our last 10 seconds. Last 10 seconds of this workout. We are nearly there. We're going to be stretching it off shortly. 3, 2, and 1. Fantastic, well done everybody. A really solid strength and conditioning based circuit there today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it tough. If you want to go back and do any additional exercises, I would recommend that you pick out 1 or 2 and then do a couple of extra rounds if you would like to, but that is a solid 30-minute main set. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please go and enjoy the cool down and stretching videos after this, and I hope to see you in another workout video very soon.